Hey girls, Dave here. Nice to see you all this morning. And again, congratulations. We got an awesome start, and yeah, couldn't be more proud of what's going on. I just feel like you've totally bought in and just are working absolutely as hard as possible in order to make it work. And just always as a reminder, I am around. So if you're not feeling like you're on top of your game, then just text me and we can just even have a quick 5 minute phone call, or I can just bump into you somewhere. I'm pretty mobile and get things going. So here's your latest installment on how to sleep better. And for those of you who are suffering with a little bit of sleep deprivation, hopefully this will help. First of all, I understand that sometimes the accommodation situation is not very good, and that's the cause of a lot of it. Some of you are, quite a few of you in one room and those sorts of things, and it's a strange place and strange noises and all the rest of it, and so it doesn't necessarily create an environment of sleeping well. But we gotta just do battle with that, and so I got all sorts of suggestions for you. So number one, the obvious ones, like no caffeinated beverages after, I would say, like noon at the latest. Low sugar consumption. Diet has a fair amount to do with it in terms of some of the things that we ingest, and when we ingest them can create this sort of activation in the body as it does its digestion work, and as what it breaks down moves into the cellular level of the body, it can cause us some of those problems. So last meal of the day as early as possible, and I know sometimes that's not possible for you guys, but just whatever it is possible, eat sooner rather than later. And decreased dairy and weight, they're inflammatories, and so they can cause a little bit of problems. Anything that you're a little bit sensitive wise, food wise, just avoid those things as well. So yeah, so that's the start of it, and then just some simple little things that sometimes can really help is later when you're getting ready to go to bed, just stay out of the bright lights, like leave the brightest lights in the bathroom off and begin to dim the lights in the rooms and those sorts of things. Your eyes have all these little receptors in there, and when there's a lot of bright light coming into those receptors think it's still daytime, and their job is to keep you awake. And so dimming the lights, if you have a Kindle reader or if you're spending a bunch of time on a computer just before you go to bed, or even on your phone, then avoid those things if you can, and if you can't, then just make sure you turn the brightness way down so it's just barely as little light as possible in order to still make it possible to use those things. So that's another little one. So I think the biggest one for me is just trying to do the brain dump. So this is what I do every night before I go to bed. Okay, I do a Sudoku. Okay, so I got halfway through a level 3 there last night, and I can tell you, when you're doing a Sudoku, your mind cannot be thinking of anything else. So that may totally not be your thing, but if you like doing that sort of stuff, or just reading some kind of a fantasy novel. So what we want to do is we want to try to stay out of the conscious mind. So we need to stay out of reality. So reading about current events in the newspaper makes you think about the world, but reading about some fantasy, like epic journey through the wilderness or something like that, just makes you imagine, and it naturally brings you into those subconscious brainwaves, and naturally brings you out of those high cognitive brainwaves, the beta brainwaves, down into the alpha, the more imaginary brainwaves, and that gets you closer to sleep. So the way the brain waves work is, it's beta, alpha, theta, and then deep sleep, that's delta. And so, if we can get out of beta and into alpha to start before we go to bed, then that's advantageous. And so, just trying to figure out what number goes in the box is really a nice thing. It's so far from reality. Doesn't allow me to think about what it is that's going on in my day, which is often what keeps me up at night, or what's going to happen tomorrow, or again, the fantasy reading. Those sorts of things can help as well. Another thing that I used, and I actually had to use it last night, because last night, man, I had a lot of things going on. Last night I was thinking about hockey, I was thinking about judo, I was thinking about cross-country skiing, I had a snowboard medal, which is like so cool, and I should have texted him, and didn't text him, and now I'm in bed, my phone's off, and blah, 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 and so I just got to let go of all that stuff. And so I use a cupboard system. And so what I do is I have a series of cupboards, and then what I do is I label all those cupboards. So, there's a school cupboard, and what's the first one there? I have I have a sport cupboard, I have a school cupboard, I have a work cupboard, I have a people cupboard, I have my interests cover, I have my problems cupboard. If I were you, I would have a hockey cupboard, I would have a teammate cupboard, I would have a coach cupboard. You just have a bunch of cupboards and you just name them all. And then what you do just before you go to bed is you'll notice that each one of those cupboards has a latch and it has a little lock. So I unlock them all, I open them all up, and then I stuff all my stuff in it. I put judo in their cupboard. I put hockey in their cupboard. I put coaches in the cupboard. I put my boss in the cupboard. I put, the minus 37-degree weather forecast for tomorrow. My poor cross-country skiers having to be. I put that in the cupboards. I just stuff everything in the cupboards. I have my wife cupboard. I have my kids cupboard. I just stuff them all in. And then what I do is I close the doors and I lock them. Each one has a key. And then I tell my subconscious mind, I tell those 50 people working downstairs in that subconscious of mine means what I would really like now is a good sleep. So if you can please keep all of the things in their cupboards until I need them tomorrow, when I will unlock them and I will get them back out again. So last night I couldn't get to sleep, and I went to bed early last night. I went to bed at 9 o'clock and I slept till 11, and then I woke up at 11 and then I couldn't get back to sleep. So I just did my little thing. I just lay there, opened up all the cupboards, stuffed all the stuff in, locked them all, and then I have to have a place to go. So I have this little nature place where I go. It's a little island out in Haida Gwaii, out in the Queen Charlotte Islands. It's called Skungwe. And it's a place when I used to work as a guide, I used to go there all the time. I used to take very special clients there. Not normal clients, just special clients. Super beautiful place. And so what I've done in my mind there, and I know nobody is ever going to go there, I go there all by myself. And over the years, I've built a little cabin. I built a little shed out on the cliff where I have a hammock. And further down the cliff, I have a little place where there's a little lawn chair. And I go there and I spend my time there. And I imagine the weather. I figure out where the sun's going to be. I figure out the temperature. Sometimes I like it when it's windy and rainy. Sometimes I like it to be sunny and hot. And I just go and I hang out there. I swing in the hammock, let the wind blow by me, and just watch the waves roll in, watch the clouds roll by, and just get myself into a really nice, beautiful place in nature. And so sometimes I work on that place. I'll think, oh man, I don't have a sauna there, so maybe I'll build a sauna there. And so in my mind, I build a little sauna there, again, into fantasy world, right? Just try and get out of that conscious mind. So the cupboards can really help, and having a place to go, a nature place. And hopefully that, like, it won't take long. If you can get yourself down into the alpha brainwaves, if you can get into a fantasy world, if you've looked after the bright lights and what you're eating and drinking, then hopefully that'll just make it a little bit easier. And when you can't sleep well, I just want you to rest well. Typically some nights I can't sleep, I just lie on my back and I just like breathe, use my 4-6 second breath inhalation, exhalation, take all the air out of the tire and just really relax. And just really relax. And it's surprising, like on my Fitbit, sometimes I know I'm awake, but I actually have it fooled. It thinks I'm asleep because I'm so calm and relaxed. And so even though I'm not sleeping, I know I'm resting well. And I will be okay tomorrow. I will be okay tomorrow. Okay, so that's it for Sleeping Better. So again, really fun to see you today. And you girls are doing awesome. Just keep it up. If you need some help, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you around. And have fun tonight. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.